We're going to go over how to add an activity and resource, and then also about our activities block here. So again, on the new Moodle, you have your gear up here, and there's our turn editing on, so we need to do that to add in any of our activities or resources. Each one of these sections is called a block. It's topically or weekly organized most often, and so you can create any number of items within these. So we're just going to click at the bottom of any block. So we would choose whichever block we want to organize, and then we would click add an activity and or resource. So I'm just going to quickly walk through a couple of these. I have specific videos on some of them as well, but this is just to give you an overview of some of the most widely used ones within this option pool. So we have assignments. Obviously, these are for any sort of uploaded documents, images, Word documents, even can be an audio file. Video files, we do recommend using another program that we have within our academic technology programs, which is called Ensemble. So if you are planning on doing a video project, it is not recommended to upload a video file here. So larger multimedia files wouldn't be ideal. Each one of these sections within the activities does give you a quick overview with more information, and also you can also look for these additional links that say more help, which will give you a much longer overview with screenshots and help you understand what options you might want to make use of within this particular activity or resource. And of course, academic technology is also here for you, as we can walk you through any of those questions. We do have our forums down here. And so that's our discussion board. So I have another video that walks you through a lot of the different features and settings that you might want to make use of when you're using a forum. There are different ways to set them up depending on what your requirements and expectations are for your students to interact with one another. There is one here that's called External Tool. I would say a lot of folks won't be using this one, but this does allow when we work with some textbooks that have a plugin, it's usually based off of this external tool. So that is a possibility as well, that with very specific needs that might come into play. Quizzes are within the activities. So again, activities here is the top area, and those are all interactive options that you're asking your students to work on something and then send something back to you. So you're not just asking them to read something or work on something, but actually interact and send something back to you. We also do now have our Zoom meeting plugin, so that will allow a quick area within your Moodle site to allow quick connections to Zoom calls that you may have set up in the past. Resources are all just items that the students are asked to read, look at, and so just access, but not necessarily send anything back. A lot of the times files and folders are used. So if you have a series, like a large block of PDF files, and you don't want to put them up one at a time, because a file would mean that you would actually set them up one at a time. Otherwise, you can use a folder, and that would just organize it alphabetically. So you don't have much direction as to how the folder itself is set up, but it would allow you to just say, these are all the readings for this particular topic, and there might be 15 different ones in there, but that would allow you to do that in a quicker way. A label is essentially what we have over here, where it says workshops, and even this area here, that's another label. It allows you to essentially make a quick little web text area. So I can have it so it displays here. Otherwise, I can create a page, and that would actually be more of a link here that would take you to the next page, and it would have a more long form information. So if you just have a little blurb like this, a little bit of a guidance, and then you're going to guide them to their assignments or their readings or whatnot, you can always pop a little label in there, so you can use the one at the top of the page, but you can also add them in as needed throughout. And that allows for a little bit more description to be placed in between some of the other items that you're asking your students to interact with. So like I said, the page would take you to a separate page, and then a URL is just obviously just taking you out to one website. So again, this is where you can choose how you want to set up your page and how time consuming it's going to be to create some of these. Now, if I wanted to put in a URL to a number of different sites, I would have to do this one at a time. But the other option is to create one of those labels and just use the label itself to embed the web pages into. So on this, I could come into this. So this is a label. I could hit edit settings, and once it loads, so I could click on the word platform, and then I could add a URL in right there. So it might be easier if you have a number of different links to just put them in a label and just hyperlink any of these. So if these were all supposed to go out to different pages that were going to have additional information, I could easily just highlight something, add the website in, and not have to go through, 4 different add a new web page. So these are a couple different options that you have, and you can just evaluate what works best for you as a with your time and how you think it's best organized for your students to understand what their expectations are. After you have built all of this, so we have, as you can see, a number of different activities, a number of different resources. We can come up here to activities block, and the activities block auto creates depending on what is within this course. So in this course, we only have forums, quizzes, and resources. So we don't actually have any assignments, because this is more of a guiding informational Moodle site. So in yours, you would most definitely likely have assignments in here too. But what it allows you to do is, if a student knows that there are a number of different forums that they're supposed to be looking at, they can quickly come in here, see the different forums, see the discussions, as in how many people have discussed, posted and asked questions and followed through on the different prompts. If I go into quizzes, again, it'll quickly show me what quizzes I have in here. It'll show me the dates. It'll show me attempts, anything like that. So a lot of the times, when you're thinking about putting timestamps and dates on all of these, like this will quickly tell them when things are going to be due in a quick overview, because as we look at this site, it does get rather long. I mean, we are using the new feature here, so I can quickly say, okay, I can't remember what I had under library resources during that section, and I can quickly jump to it. But when I just want to see all the quizzes or all the papers or all the assignments that I need to look at, I can just use the activity block to kind of get a quick overview. And this is also one other important thing to think about when students are looking at it like this. Those description boxes that a lot of times we might not always make use of can become much more helpful if you're using that here, because you can see quickly, like, there's a number of different items, and if they're titled pretty easily to understand, then a student would know, okay, yeah, that's an activities block overview. But by putting in information in the description field, it gives you much more information to go off of, and the students maybe wouldn't have to go directly back into a particular topic block to fully understand what this particular assignment or this reading was in reference to, especially if you're just titling them reading 1, reading 2, or there are a lot of readings with the same type of topic name related to your area of inquiry at that time. So just a couple things to think about, that filling in those fields might seem a little bit more time consuming, but depending on how your students are interacting with your different items, it might be extremely might be much more helpful for them, and then in the long run more helpful for you, because you can reuse this site, we can back it up and restore it, and all that content that you took some time to put in up front will be there for the future.